Hi everybody, Big Black Hat Man here to review 4 films for you that I've recently seen. None of these are from the theater, they're all from Netflix, is the account that I use to rent movies. You can either, of course, walk down to the old-fashioned movie gallery, or you can do the Redbox or Netflix. That's just what I happen to do. These are 4 films that you may or may not be interested in. I'm here to tell you what I think. I rate films out of 5 stars, and just to clear it up, 1 to 2 stars is a bad film, 2.5 to 3 stars is an average film, and 4 to 5 is a very good film, probably a must-see film. Okay, now that we have that established, let's dig right in. The first film I'm going to talk about today is a Western, which, hey, I'm a Western guy, not a big surprise. It's Death Rides a Horse, a very dramatic title. Not sure where the title came from, but very dramatic. It's a spaghetti Western, so made over in Europe. And Netflix described it as the lost classic of the spaghetti westerns, and I'm going to tell you, it just ain't lost. It's not particularly good. It stars Lee Van Cleef and John Philip Law. John Philip Law is very stiff in this one, trying to, I think, do a Clint Eastwood sort of impression, sort of Clint Eastwood-esque in his manner. He's got a toothpick he's always rolling around in his mouth like Eastwood did the cigarola, but it's a toothpick. It's kind of lame, and he sort of flips it out now and then. It's definitely not the same thing, and he is definitely not as interested in these as Eastwood was. So just trying to do the Eastwood stare doesn't work. Now for Van Cleef, I'm going to say he's actually fairly decent to watch in this film. He sort of takes his 2 characters from the Dollars trilogy for a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and sort of slams them into one character named Ryan. It's not a bad character. It's by far and away the most interesting character in this film. And the bad guys, I'm going to tell you, they're all hackneyed and very, very predictable. There's big plot holes in it. I didn't really care for this film on the whole. I'm going to give everything in this film 1 star and Lee Van Cleef 3. So it gets 2 overall, and I'm going to say there's much better spaghetti westerns out there, so go ahead and pass on Death Rides a Horse. The second film I'm going to talk to you about today is another western. Yeah, westerns. This one's Duck You Sucker, which is a Sergio Leone film. For those of you who know, Sergio Leone directed the Dollars trilogy, Once Upon a Time in the West, and of course later Once Upon a Time in America, the gangster epic. And this is the 5th film in that series, sort of a double trilogy. This one was originally called A Fistful of Dynamite, and maybe that title would have made a little more sense. Duck You Sucker is kind of a goofy title. And it's not his best work. It's not Leone's best work, not by a long shot. It stars James Coburn and Rod Steiger. And Steiger plays this very over-the-top Mexican character, much like Tuco in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but Steiger's even hammier than Eli Wallach was, so I didn't really like his character. I mean, he's got 1 or 2 redeeming moments in the film, but overall, not particularly good. Coburn's fairly interesting as this IRA munitions man who comes to Mexico to escape the British law, and he's alright, and the story's alright. It's set in the Mexican Revolution. It's kind of interesting. It's meanders, though, and some of the flashbacks are a little strange and oddly timed, and there are holes here and there in the plot. Not too bad, but a few. It's kind of a step back from what Leone had done some of his earlier works. And I'd give this 3 stars, just a perfectly average film. It definitely has some good, high-quality redeeming factors, but it's got some bad stuff. And where it's a Leone film, it does take a little bit of hit in my mind, because I'm a Leone fan. I really enjoy his work. This one wasn't his best. And now on to the non-westerns. First of all, Cop Out, starring Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan, directed by Kevin Smith. And I want to start by saying I'm a fan of Kevin Smith. I enjoy his work. Dogma is one of my favorite films, but this was not his best work either. He didn't write the film, and I really think that was a huge mistake. It really lacked the cleverness you usually get from a Kevin Smith film. So, yeah, this one just fell flat. Bruce Willis, very dry. Didn't seem like he was all that into the film. Didn't want to be there. Tracy Morgan is very annoying. The good thing is, though, just when you think he's the most annoying comedian in the whole world, they introduced Sean William Scott in the film too, and he pretty much outdoes Tracy Morgan as far as annoying goes. And when they're interacting in scenes, it's hard to watch. There's a few funny moments, so it's not the bottom of the barrel. It's not the worst film I've ever seen, but it's not good for the standards of the people who did the film. So I'm going to give this one 1.5 stars. Yeah, pass on Cop Out. And the fourth film, the last film we'll talk about today, is The Losers from earlier this year. Our theater unfortunately didn't get it, so I wanted to see it then. And it was an action film based on a graphic novel with oddly a lot of similarities to A-Team. A-Team also came out this year, a film I also saw earlier in the year in the theaters. I missed Losers, I just saw it on DVD, of course. And but this one was a lot of fun. It was exciting, had some good jokes in it. It might have been funnier than Cop Out, which seems strange since it wasn't a comedy. But it had really good action in it too. It was an enjoyable film. I really liked this film. I couldn't tell you anybody who was in it because I don't know the actors. Somebody told me the male lead in it's from Grey's Anatomy, which never watched that show, so that doesn't help me at all. But I'm going to actually say this one was better than A-Team, which I said was a very average 3-star film to people who asked me earlier this year. And so I'm going to say this was a 3.5-star film. At the top end of that average scale, there are some things that bring it down. As terms of plot's not great at times. Some of the characters are a little hit and miss, but it's a good solid action film that I would recommend you see. So 3.5 stars for that one. And of course, I didn't have the emotional investment in this one that I had in A-Team, and I keep referencing A-Team, but just, you know, you have military soldiers who become outlaws and go off and do their own thing. It's got a lot of similarities with a diverse group that's been working together for a while, and now they continue to work together despite their banishment from the military. But it's a good, solid film, and I'd recommend you go out there. If you like action films, check this one out. So let's recap real quick. Here we got Death Rides a Horse, which I'm going to tell you isn't the Lost Spaghetti Western. It's just not that good. I'm going to say pass on that one. We got Duck You Sucker, which if you're into Leone, check this one out. If you haven't seen Leone film, I'd go with the other ones first. This one's not his best work, and so the Dollars Trilogy, Once Upon a Time in the West, definitely go with those over this one. We got Cop Out, which was rough, not good. Pass on that one. And The Losers, which if you like action films, definitely check that one out. And so I guess that's all we got from here. So happy trails. Watch out for those rough patches.